right, so I'm Marcus Jacobs. I'm the head of studio here in Stockholm. So that basically means that all the teams that work with Facebook games and mobile games reporting to me through the PMs and business managers.
Let's start by having you talk a little about your background, how you got involved in video game development.
All right, good question. I got my first Commodore 64 when I was, I guess, 6 years, something like that. So, like any kid, I started playing games on it. I also did some programming. My parents were happy about that. But I played games for, I guess, over 30 years now. And I'm one of those guys that I really love games. So I played all kinds of games, hardcore games and mid-core games and casual games, all of it. Whenever I can get a break to play games, I do it. It's not as much anymore now that I'm a parent, but I still try.
Can you talk a little about the casual game space and what makes Stockholm such a hub for game development?
Well, it's not only the casual game space, it's all game development, I think. Stockholm is I guess we have a couple of unique qualities here. First, we have the climate, which is, you've experienced it yourself. It's really, really cold. It's really, really dark here during the middle of the winter. So for a number of months every year, people can't really do much except stay in. Second, we have great infrastructure from ADSL, internet, all of these things. We have always had high computer penetration, high internet penetration here. So basically a good bed for people to work with, and we've had the materials pretty much. And finally, I think people like games in Stockholm. We play the games. It's part of our culture. It's in many countries you don't talk about computer games to the same extent that you do here. I think in schools here, kids, they generally talk about games from age 7 and up. It's part of our DNA here in Stockholm and in Sweden in general, I think.
And specifically casual games, talk about how popular those are here.
Well, they're superbly popular. I think a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is King, because we've built casual games for 10 years now. Swedish-based company. There is some loyalty, thankfully, for Swedish people to play Swedish games, but also because we have high mobile penetration and high Facebook penetration. We were early adopters on both of these platforms, and those are great for playing casual games. So we saw the spread of casual games for real with those two platforms, and since Sweden is early there, it's helping, and we produce quality games, so that's why we play it.
Can you run through some numbers just to give us a sense of how popular some of the games are that you guys made?
Sure. Well, we have. I'm gonna try to stay within the limits here of what I can and cannot say. But for example, we have in Hong Kong, which is one of our bigger markets in terms of market penetration. We have 1 person out of 7 is actually playing Candy Crush right now. So that's quite a lot of people, I guess. In Sweden, we have around 1 million downloads, something like that. So again, on a population of 10 million, it shows you the size of things. So people play a lot. And King.com, the website we've had operating for 8 or 9 years now, has seen 25-30 million visitors per month for a long period of time. So.
Can you give us an idea of just how popular some of these games are when it comes to the casual space?
Sure. So Candy Crush, obviously our most popular game currently, both on Facebook and mobile, has seen tremendous growth lately. So on Facebook, we are currently about 15 million DAU, so that's daily active users playing the game. Mobile, we're not disclosing the numbers, but they are big. As can be seen from a number of charts, Candy Crush is the number 1 or 2 top grossing game in basically all Western markets. In terms of total gameplays, we have over 10 or 12 billion gameplays per month playing most of our games. Again, Candy Crush being the majority, but definitely not all of it. So we also have Pet Rescue, which is, I think, the 5th biggest game on Facebook now, with about 6, 7, 8 million players every month. Pablo Witch still up there after 2 years almost since release, or a year and a half, with over 3 million players daily.
I wanted to get your thoughts also on what you feel the Swedish culture adds to the games that are developed by King.com.
So that's an interesting question. I guess we try to keep it fairly simple, the whole Scandinavian design thing going here. So, not very lavish graphics, not very lavish interfaces, or these kind of things. beautiful, sure, but simple and easy to understand. I think that the key to a successful casual game is that it takes less than a minute to pick it up and understand what you're doing. So we're spending a lot of time actually making sure that people that come across our games randomly or not randomly just immediately understand what they're gonna do. So that's part of the story. The second part is that we are actually building casual games, like real computer games, if you will, with a story and with an increasing challenge, and trying to create a flow that lasts longer than 30 minutes or 3 hours, but that can actually develop your skill sets over 30 hours or 300 hours or even more than that, actually.
Can you talk a little about the challenges today in the market? On the one hand, there's a lot more people playing games, but on the other hand, there's a lot more competition.
Sure, there's competition, and it's becoming more and more a big players game. So, you know, fortunately for us, we got in time, I'd say, because it's the big networks are. If you have a big network, it's easy to get your own game out, or easier at least. And I see a couple of them are starting working on publishing, so publishing third-party content and these kind of things. So it's basically a few big networks, and there are also obviously the monopolies of the platforms, Facebook and Apple. You know, they have tremendous lot of power in the marketplace, as they should. So it's an interesting place to be, and it's becoming harder and harder, I think, for the small player to succeed. But then we see exceptions, like a couple of our competing games. They're doing really great with any network to back them up with any huge marketing budget. So there's still hope for anyone if you have a really good game.